believe it. The crowd couldn't believe it. Jesse couldn't believe it. Teresa couldn't believe it. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxy with Roxy Says, and we're going to talk about it. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. So today we are reviewing The Golden Bachelor. This is episode 7, right? And thank you all so much for your patience. I know this video is super late, but life was lifing last week. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. So this is the episode where all of the ladies meet up and we find out who got that final rose. And clearly, my prediction was 1,000,000% wrong, but so was the predictions of everyone else in America because everybody was shocked. So let's get into it. But before we do, please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you know every time I post a new video. All right, so as the episode opens up, Gerry is still crying. He's trying to decide who he wants to be with. Remember, he already gave Leslie that first rose and he was deciding between Teresa and Faith. And then we are immediately whisked away to the studio where all of the ladies are seated for the Women Tell All special. And as some of you know, this is my first time watching The Bachelor in any capacity. And I was getting annoyed at Jesse always coming out and saying,
Ladies, Gerry, it's the final rose tonight when you're ready.
But I was happy to see Jesse on my screen for a little bit longer, saying a bit more than the usual. But yes, I was happy to see all of the ladies, especially my faves. Susan was there. Natasha was there, okay? And then a couple of honorable mentions. My girl Sandra was there. Edith was also there. Remember, she wowed me as soon as she hopped out of that limo in the first episode. And Joan, who to me is the one that got away. Because I do think that even though Gerry likes brunettes, and that's evident, his late wife was a brunette, and his top picks are also brunette, I do think that Joan was the one blonde who would have given all of those other ladies a run for their money. Because Gerry and Joan definitely had a strong connection. And I was even happy to see my girl Kathy, okay? Because even though she does a lot, she did bring the necessary drama. Why didn't they show Susan when she initially met Gerry? Did you see her say that she's really comfortable with 6 inches? Now she was referring to her heels, but she could have also been referring to something else, okay? Like, I knew I love Susan. That's my girl. So like in all reality shows, they do the flashback of things that happened throughout the season. And Jesse starts asking questions, and he asked Nancy a question that I really appreciated her answer to. He asked Nancy if her family has a newfound appreciation after seeing her as a single woman. And first of all, doesn't Nancy look like an actress who was in like Days of Our Lives or something? I was looking at my screen like, have I seen her on TV before? She just has a really familiar face. But anyway, she says that she feels like her family has a new perspective of her because they see her in the role of mom, of grandma, and now they actually got to see her on television as a single woman who desires love and companionship. A lot of times when women become wives, when women become mothers and grandmothers, people around them can only see them as just that, mom, grandma, wife. They forget that women have wants and desires outside of fulfilling the needs of the people around them. And I love that her family got to see that. And not only for her, but for all of the women on this stage. Because outside of just winning Gerry, I feel like this experience for all of these ladies in some capacity has awakened something within them. Throughout this episode, they're going to talk a lot about hope and how being with Gerry has opened their eyes and given them some sense of optimism for dating in the future. And in addition to that, I also hope that these ladies have made some lifelong friends, have formed some lifelong bonds with some of the other ladies that they met in this experience. So we get to the Kathy and Teresa drama, and of course, Teresa isn't there because we don't know if she got the last rose yet or not. But after they play the montage of everything that went down, Kathy does describe herself as a straight shooter. And she says, of course, there were times where she could have zipped it herself, and she could have also communicated her thoughts to Teresa in a more delicate way. But she says that at this point, she's sure that Teresa's over it. It was just in the heat of the moment, and she's over it as well. And remember in my past reviews what I said about the whole Kathy and Teresa thing. Now, Kathy is no one's mom. She has no right to tell someone what they can and cannot say. Kathy setting a boundary would be, I'm not going to speak to Teresa anymore. Because when we do speak, she doesn't respect not sharing intimate details about her and Gerry. That would be Kathy setting a boundary. She can't control what Teresa does, but she can control what she does, and she can control who she'll allow in her space, right? As far as Teresa, I was starting to agree with Kathy when she says, I don't know if this girl is just a ditz or if she's doing this on purpose. And remember that last conversation that they had on the golf course, I did say, if Teresa comes to Kathy and gives her more intimate details about her and Gerry after this golf conversation, and Kathy curses Teresa out, I would be 100% behind it, because girl, now I know you're doing it on purpose, okay? But that's all the time that they spend on Kathy and Teresa. Since Teresa's not on stage, I guess maybe we'll see her rebuttal to that in the next episode. Who knows? So next we see that all throughout the season, Susan was stinking up the house, okay? She was blaming Edith's guacamole. Edith was like, no girl, it's not my guacamole. The ladies were blaming Susan's own meatballs. Like, you talking about Edith's guacamole. Meanwhile, it's your meatballs that you made that got you stinking up the place. I thought that was so funny. And you could really tell that production sees that Susan is a fan favorite because she got a whole lot of camera time during this episode. To the point where she even got a special shout out from Kris Jenner. Kris Jenner said that Susan is her favorite. You know, they share that same hairstyle and everything. And Susan got super emotional. She was crying. She loves Kris Jenner. So that was a cute moment for her. I hope that this experiment allows these ladies to really capitalize off of their newfound fame, if that's what they want, okay? But if they become little influencers, marketing and advertising for companies, I wish all of that for them. Success from this show does not only have to lie in being picked by Gerry, okay? They can mark this as a successful experience in multiple ways. All right, so next we see Joan, like I called her before, the one that got away. I definitely think that Joan would have been in top 3 had she not gone home early. But Joan is clearly still heartbroken at the fact that she had to leave Gerry early, but thankfully everything is okay with her daughter. She said that her daughter was dealing with some very severe postpartum depression and she had to go home and be with her. And I 1,000,000% understand. But remember, on that car ride, Joan is the one who made the comments about the older you get, the more invisible you become within society. And she does say that this experience with Gerry has helped her to feel seen for the first time in a very long time. And like I said in my review before, it's just so heartbreaking that so many people are experiencing that. And in addition to these women having a new outlook on life because of this show, I hope that other people who are watching this show, who are in their same age range or even younger, also gain a sense of hope by watching these ladies, not letting age hold them back, and show the world that just because they're a little bit older, their life is not over. They still have a whole lot of life to live, and so do you. So next we have this scene with Ellen, and this scene was so sad, just like all the way around. I was definitely tearing up during Ellen's segment, okay? So they show the replay of the season, and clearly Ellen is still so torn up while watching it back. And just like Joan said, Gerry did a really good job at making everyone feel seen, feel important, feel beautiful, feel loved. And that has really given her hope to find someone for her in the future. As we all know, her best friend Roberta unfortunately passed away from cancer before the show aired. Now, Ellen says that she applied because Roberta asked her to do it. She's like, girl, you have to do this. So she just applied, not thinking that she would even get picked. She was like, okay, girl, I'll apply for you. Lo and behold, she got picked for the show. And soon after, they found out that she had stage 4 breast cancer. So they promised each other that they would watch the show together. But when Ellen had returned home from filming, Roberta was already in a semi-coma. And Ellen says that she knows that her friend was suffering. She knows that her friend was in pain. And she also felt like she was just holding on so that they could watch that first episode together. But she told her, look, I don't want you to suffer anymore. We will watch the first episode together. We're just going to watch it from different places. And even right now, I'm trying not to get emotional. But when she said that, the tears definitely started flowing for me. I had to grab me a tissue. Everyone was crying. Even Jesse was crying. And he tells Ellen that there's someone very special in the audience. And Ellen is like, oh my God, who is it? And turns out that it is Courtney, who is Roberta's daughter. And as if everyone wasn't crying enough, Courtney starts telling Ellen that she is an amazing woman. She is the best friend that her mother could have ever asked for, okay? I'm getting emotional because I love my mom and I appreciate anyone who loves her, right? So for Courtney to have lost her mom and to be there and tell Ellen what a gift she was to her mother. Just having that friend by her side while going through stage 4 cancer. I know that Courtney greatly appreciates Ellen, and that Ellen was definitely an amazing friend to her mother, Roberta. It was just such a touching, beautiful moment. So next we see Gerry come out, okay? And Gerry is telling all the ladies that he misses them, and he's telling all the ladies that he loves them all, okay? Gerry loves everybody. And we learned from Jesse that apparently Gary's initial plan was to not kiss too many people or not anyone at all, but clearly that went out the window, okay? He just couldn't help himself when it came to some of these ladies. We see Sandra, and she thanks Gerry for giving her hope and motivation to find her guy, because he wasn't only a gentleman, but he was a gentleman. I was like, okay, Sandra, I feel you. We also see Joan and Ellen thank Gerry for the same thing, because this experience has truly given them hope and boosted their self-esteem. And I hope that when these ladies start dating again, if they haven't already, they walk out like, yes, I am here, okay? My self-esteem is high. You're not gonna act crazy just because I'm a little older. I'm not desperate just because I'm a little older, okay? I have a lot to offer, and you gotta come correct. I hope that that's exactly how these ladies are dating. We're not gonna take no bullshit just because we're a little bit older, okay? Anyways, child, then they show us who got the last rose, okay? Baby, baby. And when this man said, Teresa, I damn near fell out of my chair, because I was so sure, I was so confident that Teresa was going home. I was so confident. Nothing else would have made any type of sense. I couldn't believe it. The crowd couldn't believe it. Jesse couldn't believe it. Teresa couldn't believe it. And remember how I pointed out that he didn't even tell Teresa, I love you. Remember, they put that in post-production. We didn't see his lips moving. We didn't see him say that to her at all, nor did he tell her daughter that. But he picks Teresa. Gerry, why are you playing in our face? And you send Faith home? Faith? Okay, Gerry, I guess. And I just know that Faith's sister wants to fight Gerry. I know she does, because he was at the house acting like Faith was his girl. But I guess when it comes to Teresa, the reason why he probably picked Teresa is because Teresa gives off desperate. Teresa gives off,
I can't live without you. I have to be with you. I can't envision my life without you. I love you so much. I'll do anything for you.
like, to the point that maybe Gerry feels a bit more confident in his decision with her, because he's like, oh, she ain't going nowhere. Like, if I pick her, she gonna be a ride or die, okay? She gonna be here no matter what I do. So maybe Teresa gives him that ego boost that he needs, child. I don't know. So after he gives Teresa the rose, we see Gerry walk Faith out. He gives her that little speech. And this scene made me feel so bad for Faith, because she was like, I don't know, was this all in my head? Was I thinking that he was feeling things that maybe he wasn't? And I felt horrible, because I'm like, no, girl, we saw the same thing that you saw, okay? You're not crazy. It was not all in your head. He did give the impression that you would definitely be one of the people who would be picked. Well, and let me just say this. I hate that terminology of like, oh, he picked you, he chose you. I hate that. I'm just saying it in the premise of the show, okay? Y'all already know I hate that language, and the whole concept of just like all of these women fighting for the love and affection of this one person when we don't even know if he's a good guy or not, okay? I touched on that previously. From what we see, Gerry is an angel, but we don't know a damn thing about Gerry, okay? We don't even know if he's worthy for all of these women to even be fighting over him. Child, don't get me started, but that is the premise of this entire show, so that's what we going with, okay? Anyway, so like I was saying, Faith is clearly devastated, and she's saying things like, maybe it's just not in the cards for me. I was ready to marry this man. And it just sucks seeing her say these things and knowing that she feels this way, because she was clearly blindsided by being sent home. We all were. So now we're back to the Women Tell All set, and we see Faith on the stage, and of course Gerry isn't there yet. So she's just speaking to Jesse. And even Jesse says that he was shocked when Gerry picked Teresa. And Faith says that the very first thing that she thought about was her family, and her family feeling sorry for her. And she says that it had been over 20 years since she put herself out there like that. So she said, you know what? I have this opportunity. Gerry seems like a great guy. I'm going to give this 1,000,000%. And that's exactly what she did. And she says that she doesn't understand how a connection so strong could be gone just in the matter of seconds. Then they welcome Gerry out, and Gerry comes out and he's crying, okay? This man is bawling as he comes out. And he's trying to reassure Faith, and he's telling her, everything that we had was real. All of those feelings, I genuinely felt them. In all of those moments when I said I loved you, I meant it. But Faith is just shattered, and she says, the homecomings went amazingly well. And the next time that she saw him, he was telling her goodbye, and she was like, what? She felt like she was speaking to a stranger. And isn't that so sad how relationships are? Someone who was like your everything, your entire world. You spent days and nights with them. You made huge decisions with them in consideration. And one day that person means absolutely nothing to you. Of course, this show is a different situation, but on a more realistic scale, I can definitely understand her feeling like, what just happened? I would have literally done anything for this person. And within an instant, I don't even speak to this person anymore. It's crazy. And Gerry says what he feels the worst about is that he made a promise to her family that he wasn't able to keep. And he feels horrible for making that promise. Now, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I didn't like this scene because I felt like Faith was doing a lot of talking, a lot of explaining, where I feel like this was a scene where I just feel like Gerry should have been doing more explaining and more apologizing for the way that this went down. And I understand that Faith wanted to get her feelings out and let Gerry know how she felt because this was the first time that they have seen each other since that goodbye. But I felt like if I was Faith, I would be sitting there like, and Gerry would be the one doing all of the explaining, okay? And Faith is also doing a lot of pacifying in this segment. When Gerry brings up her family, she says, oh no, it's okay. They're not mad at you. They understand. And I'm like, no, she should have been like, yeah, they're pissed, okay? My sons said when they see you, they gonna beat your ass. But she's doing a lot to make Gerry feel better. And I do feel like Gerry is crying a lot for sympathy. I know we love Gerry, but I'm like, why are you so sad? Like, I understand. I understand that you felt bad for sending Faith home. But at this time, I'm like, do you have a fiance? Are you engaged to anyone right now? Either Leslie or Teresa? Because if you are, and you doing all this crying over Faith, if I was Teresa or Leslie, if I was Teresa or Leslie and you were engaged to one of me, y'all get what I'm trying to say, I would have a problem with you bawling your eyes out over Faith because it's giving, do you think that you made the wrong decision? Do you still want to be with her? I understand the emotions. I understand him having some remorse because he feels bad because he broke someone's heart. I get that. But I feel like he was doing a bit much, if you get what I'm saying. So after all of the tears dried, they show us some bloopers and I was cracking up. These ladies are a ball of fun. They were falling, they were laughing, they were passing gas, they were flashing each other. It was just a good time. And while I was watching this part, I said, these ladies need to have like an annual girls trip. Just book a trip every year. Y'all all go somewhere, rent a house and just relive this whole Bachelor experience. I really hope that a lot of them have connected on a deeper level and have made some lifelong friends from this experience. So we see in the next episode, Gerry, Teresa, and Leslie are headed to Costa Rica for a super romantic trip. And in this preview, we actually get to see Gerry tell Teresa, I love you. And we see his lips moving and everything. And then we also get to see him tell Leslie, I think you're the one. Now, a couple of episodes ago, I would have been like,
oh, that means this, that means that.
But given how he did Faith, I can't even trust anything that Gerry says anymore. So I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see, and we'll find out who he picks or if he picks anyone in the next episode. So tell me, who do y'all think it'll be? Do you think it'll be Leslie or do you think it will be Teresa? Were you also shocked by Gerry picking Teresa? And tell me what you think about this episode overall. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure to check out this next video. Bye!
Roxy says we're gonna talk about it.